We know it's going to be cold and frigid in Columbus this weekend for the game, but everyone down south won't have to deal with the lake effect that we're seeing here in Northeast Ohio. Jessica Van Meter with a full look at your forecast. And Jessica, maybe a long, chilly few days here.
Yeah, it's going to feel a lot like winter, colder than we've been so far, and that's going to trigger a lot of lake effect. It's already triggering some lake effect. We got a few of those showers already falling around the metro area, but we can look at some of these sky cams here. Not a lot going on as far as road impacts across metro Cleveland, so to speak, but if we look a little further east, we should be able to see, and of course the ODOT camera went out. Oh well, best of luck there. We've got snow actually sticking and starting to accumulate across eastern portions of Northeast Ohio, especially out towards Lake and Ashtabula counties. We're already seeing that sticking to the roadways, and that's going to continue to be the case as we go through tonight and really through the entire day tomorrow and even tomorrow night. We are looking at very heavy lake effect snow, especially for those primary snowbelt areas. So that's why we're going with that weather impact alert, and really going to be a good idea to avoid travel if you can, especially as that snow is falling. We could get some snowfall rates up to 1 to 2 inches per hour. That's going to create some very low visibility, some very quick accumulations, possibly some very dangerous conditions on the roadways, particularly I-90, and some of those roads are going to be very tough Friday and possibly even into the weekend as well. We've got quite the setup for lake effect snow. A few things that you need to really get a good lake effect going. Cold air moving over the warm lake. Lake temperatures 51 degrees off of Lake Erie. We've got air in the 20s that's moving across, so that's quite a difference. We've got consistent wind direction coming in mainly from the west, just a slight adjustment to the northwest or the southwest, and a decent speed that's going to get the snow inland a little bit more towards areas like Ashtabula County. Also fetch, it's kind of the distance that this air is going to travel over the lake with a westerly wind, a good fetch. That air is going to move all the way across western Lake Erie before it comes on shore east of Cleveland with much of this lake effect snow. So a really great setup is developing to get some potentially high totals and really some impactful conditions, especially out towards that primary snow belt region. Here's our real setup right now. We've got the colder air that's settling in. That is already bringing a lot of lake effect snow. We've had that developing just in the last hour or two here. We've got some very minor snow showers south of Cleveland. These are going to move through very quickly. Maybe just a brief dusting or a quick coating, especially some of those grassy areas, elevated surfaces. They're going to be out of here very quickly. What's going to be sticking around is this band that's starting to set up east of Cleveland. This is what we're really going to be focusing on. Notice the darker colors in here in the blue. That's more indicative of some of that heavier snow that's actually sticking and starting to accumulate. This is also where we have a lake effect snow warnings in place for Lake, Northern Geauga, Ashtabula counties, and also Cuyahoga County winter weather advisory, there, mainly for that northeastern corner where we could potentially see some higher totals. So all of this is going to be what we watch tonight, tomorrow, and even to tomorrow night and possibly early Saturday, depending on how this wind direction plays out. Here's a look at the National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. Again, what we see south of Cleveland right now is not going to be super impactful. It's going to move out fairly quickly, but this lake effect snow band here is what we're going to really be focusing on through tonight, tomorrow morning. This is bringing very heavy snow really to the same area over and over again across Lake County, Ashtabula County, Northern Geauga County. It might kind of go a little north or south on and off as we go through the day, but it's going to be some very heavy snow as it's falling, and that is going to cause some issues for us. And it's even going to continue Friday night into at least Saturday morning, potentially even further into the day on Saturday, depending on how that wind direction plays out for us. So it is going to be a lot of snow to contend with. We're going to run this out here. Just two things to notice here. First thing is, don't take any of these numbers at face value. That is not the purpose. The purpose is to show that we're going to have quite a gradient between where we do not see a lot of snow at all and where we see very heavy snow, as is typical with some of those lake effect events. I do think it's very possible that somewhere in Lake County, Ashtabula County, we could see over 1 to 2 feet. Some of those locally higher totals will be possible. And again, that gradient is going to end up being so important to where we see those totals. Whether or not you see snow tomorrow, it is going to be very cold. Temperatures only in the 20s to low 30s for our highs, and that chill is going to be sticking around all the way through the weekend into next week. With that, we'll keep that chance for lake effect around at least into the early part of next week.